and in fact, I got a hat just the same as he has. So just to greet him and to pay my respects to a wonderful man. I'm just not wearing a tie today. So, but I've got a hat which just resemble my friendship to Ahmed Shafiq. He's a wonderful man, and I take my hat off to him to what he's achieved. So, so I can see the reaction on the screen now. So I got a little bit of an applause for my hat. So I can see you hear me now. But it is very, very delayed. So what I would like to say to the students, for World Chefs, it's obviously you are a member in Pakistan and the Chefs Association in Pakistan through the school, and I'm sure you also know that you're automatically a member of World Chefs. Well, World Chefs is the umbrella association for, as I said earlier, about over 110 countries, and we're representing over 10 million chefs around the world. Why am I repeating this? It's very, very simple. Because whatever you learn in the school today, in your 2-year practical and your 2 years of theory in this beautiful school of yours at COTHM, it will not be enough to make sure that you strive and get the networking which you deserve from each and every one of you of creating the passion of being a chef. So it is so nice. This is a springboard of where you are now. But I'm urging you to take every single opportunity you can get once you got your qualification to learn, to learn, to learn, and to learn. And the networking through World Chefs, it's even more important. So what the world networking through World Chefs will give you, it will give you 10 million links to chefs from all around the world in over 110 different countries. And this is the type of links you need to create, and this is the type of things you need to encourage yourself to make. It is very, very good to have those networks, and I'll give you a couple of examples. We just recently, in fact, yesterday, we had a webinar with over 3,000 Indian chefs. And we had more or less the same things to talk about networking, about communicating with other chefs from around the world, and what opportunities you can get. And each opportunity you get, you need to grab with open hands, with open arms, and go for it. If it means that you have to leave your home country for a year, for a 2-year, for 10 years, it doesn't matter. One thing you got to promise yourself all the time, you're going to promise your peers, and you've got to promise your parents, you've got to promise your sponsors, that one day you will come back to your own country, and whatever you learned in all the different countries around the world in your profession, you need to go back and you need to pass on your knowledge. And this is what the Brotherhood of Chefs is all about. That white jacket we're all wearing today, and I see there's a number of students right behind there, all wearing the white jackets proudly. This is a very, very powerful jacket. That jacket, the white chef's jacket, is so powerful, and we know that this is the most known and recognized uniform in the world. If you walk out on the street proudly with your chef's whites, people will not mistake you for being the milkman or being a teacher or being a mechanic. They all know this is a chef. This is a cook out there, and this is a person who is in the hospitality industry and making other people happy with their skills. So be proud, always be very, very proud in wearing your chef's jacket, which is a very powerful jacket. And it's not just powerful because it opens other doors for you, but it's also open the hearts of many, many people. And it opens for you guys an opportunity of networking all around the world. This is a big family of chefs. World Chefs is a huge family of chefs. And I'm very honored and I'm very pleased of being involved in World Chefs for almost 13 years already. And now for the last 4 years, I've been the vice president, and we've just been revoted for another 4 years for vice president under the leadership of Chef Thomas Gugler, who is the president of World Chefs. We've got a board of directors, which exists with the executive, and I will just, if you don't mind, introduce them by name and where they come from. Chef Thomas Gugler is originally from Germany, but is residing for over 30 years already in Saudi Arabia and the United Emirates. And then it's myself, Martin Kobald. I originally come from Austria, and I've been in South Africa for over 32 years, and very proud that I have two culinary schools in South Africa. And then we've got an assistant vice president, which is Chef Uwe Michiel. He's originally from Germany. He's residing in Dubai in the UAE at the moment, and he's also the president of the Emirates Culinary Guilds. Then we've got Cornelia Volini. She is the Secretary General of World Chefs. She's residing in Canada, and she's a chef, and she's the poor old lady who's doing all the administration for us poor chefs. She is fantastic. We wouldn't be able to do it without her. And as you most probably all know, we chefs, I'm not a good administrator. I really try to be, because I have to run a business, but I prefer to cook and not to write letters. But anyway, and then we also got continental directors. We got continental directors all around the continents in the world. We've got, for example, Dr. Rick Stevens. I'm not sure if you heard about Dr. Rick Stevens, a chef. He's residing in Singapore. He's chef of SATS, a catering company. He's doing meals a day for the airlines, so Singapore Airlines, and various. And he's also the culinary director of excuse me, competitions committee of World Chefs. So he's all of Asia as a continental director. Then we got 3 directors in for looking out of Europe, all of Europe, and looking out of Europe. And then, of course, with Australia and the Middle East, which is Abrahams. He resides in Melbourne in Australia. The board of directors, we're trying to run possible, which aim and give back to the chef and to for all which I've mentioned. All of you, sure you eat your smart somewhere in your bags. Hopefully not on a kitchen stove. But once you end up on a break from your class today, I urge you all to go and have a look at the World Chefs website, which is www.worldchefs.org. So have a look and browse through, and you will see some wonderful things which are happening. We got various amount of pillars which we prioritizing and communicating throughout the world. One of them is for food sustainability, for making sure about the food waste, because I think we as chefs are very responsible, and we also are responsible to make sure that people understand about food waste, which is far too high in this world, and there's far too many people around the world which are still today starving of hunger. But the world economy is overproducing food, so there should not be any people out there starving of hunger. But unfortunately, there's too much food getting wasted, so we're overproducing. And just to give you a number that's just besides the line, and that's something what worries me the most, that in 2018, so I'm not sure what happened now. Can you still see me? I think I lost you now. I really don't know. I really don't know what's happening. But anyway, for them, they can still hear me and see me. it is a great thing at World Chef. So now let me talk a little bit about my school in South Africa. Um, hello, I can see you now again. Hello, can you still hear me? Can you still hear me? Hello.
Well, not exactly.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm not sure what the problem is.
The the voice is distorted at the moment. We can't hear you properly.
Up to which point were you able to hear me?
Hello, Chef Martin. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Yes,
Okay.
I can.
So we are back. There was some interruption in the internet actually, and
Oh,
we
okay.
got reconnected. All is
Oh,
well now.
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Please
So
carry on.
can everybody, up to which point could you hear me? Do I need to repeat from beginning or where, at which point did you hear me? Hello?
Well, we are reconnected.
I can see you, I can hear you. I'm asking up to which point were you able to hear me when I was talking about world chefs?
You were talking about the continental directors. You gave an introduction of all the continental directors,
Oh,
and
okay.
later it was disconnected.
Okay, can I continue where I saw, from where you stopped hearing me? Hello?
Well, we are back again.
Okay, can you all hear me again? So I believe you heard me all the way up when I introduced the continental directors.
Yes,
Is that
yes.
correct? Okay, now you can hear and see me. Yes? Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Yes. So we can hear you and
I switched my camera now off, so maybe that makes a difference. So at least if you can hear me, I can see you. So if you can hear me, please give me a thumbs up.
yeah.
Oh, wonderful. I can see you. Thumbs up. So unfortunately you're not going to be able to see me now, but you've seen me before, so I hope you saw this beautiful face of mine. So I'm just no, there's a major. Hello?
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 Yes.
I'm still here. I'm not sure what the problem is. There seems to be a major problem with internet. So I don't know.
Well, your audio and video is clear now. It's a
Okay.
very challenging. It's just because of the internet that we are facing this challenge. But however, we are back again and we can hear you and we can see you. So you can,
Okay.
sir, continue. Yeah.
Okay. I can't see you now, but it's okay. As long as you can hear me and see me, this is very good. All right. Well, dear students, you see, this is the problem with what we're facing today. We are very blessed of having the technology that we have, but sometimes it just doesn't work. So what do we do? In South Africa, we've got a saying, and it's in Afrikaans. It's a language we use in South Africa. It says, "Die boer maak 'n plan." What that means is that the farmer will make always a plan. And I believe this is always with the chefs exactly the same thing. So there's various ways of communicating, and this is the way we chose today. And we never give up. We never give up. Some people in the other industries, they most probably would have put this computer, switched it off, and saying this is not working. This is we can't do that, and this is just unacceptable, etc., etc., etc. But we as chefs, we never give up. We never give up. We never make. We always make sure that we somehow can communicate and somehow can do what we're supposed to be doing. And this is serving our peers. This is serving our customers. And this is what I'm doing. I see you today as my customers, and I see you today as my friends, as my colleagues in the industry. So I'm just going to continue, and I really hope that you hear every single word I'm saying. So the main motivation for me to become a chef and continue what I'm doing is it's really, as I said, is the friendship, is the brotherhood of chefs. And I'm very happy to see that there's so many in Pakistan chose to become chefs and become part of the brigade of chefs from around the world. So I started earlier of introducing world chefs a little bit to you, and I'm just going to repeat the website for world chefs, which I all would like you to have a look at later when you're on your break. Have a look at the website, which is www.worldchefs.org. That's very important. Have a look in there. You are a member of World Chefs when you're a member of your local association, and the local association, as far as I know, is a member of World Chefs. So you automatically, each and every one of you, are also a member of World Chefs. So it is very, very important to know that, because sometimes we don't know what we're actually capable of, and it's only once we get thrown an opportunity in doing that. So what I'm going to be doing now as well, and it's maybe a little bit of a fun one to do, but I'm going to give you my website address as well. Not my website address, my actual email address. And I would really be honored and blessed if you can send me a couple of lines in order to fulfill your target of starting a communication and starting a network from around the world. And when you do send me an email, send me an email of what you do, what your name is, what your plans are, what is your lead, what you want to become, let's say in 5 years' time. What is your goal? And this it's very important to do, because it is always important to know what you want to do. And so I challenge you all to send me all an email to Martin, it's Martin, at Chef MLK, which is CHEFMLK.com. And I'm sure your lecturers, they have my profile, they have my email address. I'm sure they can repeat it to you in case you have not seen it or be able to write it down or remember it. So again, I challenge you all to send me a little email with just a couple of lines, and just tell me who you are and what you want to do and what you want to become in the next 5 years. What are your goals? And maybe I can just help you and guide in the right direction, and putting you in contact in various people around the world. If you are ideally desire to want to move one day, maybe to another country, to gain some more experience. But as I said earlier, it is always important to always go back to your roots and teach the learnings to other people that you had the opportunity to gain. So it is very important. The other thing which is very important, since you all are in Pakistan and you're all in Pakistanis, which is a beautiful country. I've had the privilege of visiting it about 6 years ago for a very short period for a competition. I was invited to come over. So I've seen a little bit of your beautiful country. But what I still remember very fondly is your culture. It's very your culture of your general culture, your religion, and then of course for me most importantly your food culture. And the food culture is very important to keep the roots and keep to learn the very basics. As I was working for a while in South Africa, we had a couple of Indian people coming over for some lectures and to get some learnings about South African cuisine. And then when they arrived there, I love curry, and Indians are just fantastic at making curry. So I did ask them to make me a couple of curries, and they said, can't really do a real curry. I said, well, what do you mean you can't curry? Now that we went to an international chef school and we only learned international dishes. I said, well, your grandmother, your mother, anybody in your family, sure, yeah, they all cook curry, but we never really got the recipes there. I said, well, this is very sad because when you come from India, people are expected to learn from you Indian cuisine and are expected from you to be able to cook Indian cuisine. And that's what I mean about the roots, which is very sad. So one of the real basic things I urge you all to do is to make sure that you learn the basics about your own culture, about your own cuisine, and then and learn it and then pass on the knowledge if you can. And there's my next challenge to each and every one of you. When you write me an email, or the email address I gave you earlier, I really would like you to also share one of your basic Pakistani recipes with me. I'm a great collector of recipes from all around the world. I love it, and I recook them. I try to make them myself. But so I'm asking each and everyone to share one of your favorite recipes with me. That would be very kind of you. And if you can also send me a photograph of that finished dish, I would really like that. And I promise you, once I do cook the recipe from you, I also make photographs and I'll send it back to you as well. So I would really appreciate that.
Can
So,
you stop for a while, please?
sorry?
Can you stop for a while, please?
Stop, yeah?
Yeah. आप सबने कहना है कि we will share the recipe with you. सब लोगों ने मिलके. जी, 1, 2, 3. They are saying we will share the recipe with you.
Thank you very much. I really
Yeah.
appreciate that.
And a
I'm
clapping for Chef Martin Kobald. Yeah.
Thank you.
I
so much.
I think this is a wonderful idea because uh, getting to know about other cuisines is actually getting to know about the other cultures also, the other
Absolutely.
nationalities. So once we exchange these kind of information and knowledge between us, this is
Yeah.
going to be a wonderful idea of, I mean, for getting closer to each other.
Fantastic. And I'd be happy to share some wonderful recipes from my home country as well, of
Yeah.
Austria, if you
Yeah.
like. And also can even share some recipes of traditional recipes from
Yeah.
South Africa, which used to
Yeah.
be my home for over 32 years.
We would love to have. Yeah, sure. Please
Fantastic.
continue, sir.
So I would like to open the floor now of maybe some questions anybody would have, which I might be able to answer for you.
Yeah, sure. The students have some questions for you. Exciting, interesting questions. Who is going to volunteer first? Yeah.
Hello, sir. Hope you're doing great. My name is Farooq, and I have a question about world hunger. So, as you know, it's a big issue in the world, and it's a growing issue in Pakistan as well. So, what is the biggest reason you think it is, and how can we solve it?
Well, that's a very big question, and that's a complete different debate which one needs to have. And we are thinking about it on a daily basis. And I said, I've also been living in South Africa for 32 years, and poverty is very strong in South Africa as well, and hunger is very real in South Africa as well. biggest problem with hunger is that, as I said earlier, that there's an overproduction of food, but there's an absolute disgusting, and I say it again, disgusting way of humans today wasting of food. And I think we chefs, we have a role to play in educating the general public out there of proper food handling, not just what we learn in school and then passing on in our restaurants and the hotels where we work and making sure that our food cost is right. But I think each and everyone's got a role to play in our own families at home. And I know each and everyone experienced as well. I most certainly did, and I'm at fault myself that often I just go into shopping center to buy groceries, and I've got maybe 5 items on my shopping list, and then I walk out by the till with 15 different items. Uh, so I bought an additional 10 items which I don't really need, and they're landing up in the fridge. And then a week later, I throw from the 10 extra ones, I throw maybe 5 away because I didn't use them. So there's an overproduction of food, and there's a disgusting way of food wastage. So I think there's a big role for us to play to educate the general public and ourselves. And we at fault. I know each and every one of us is at fault to try to change world hunger. And then, of course, I mean, if you throw a piece of lettuce away today, it's not going to feed that hungry person down the street who hasn't had a meal. But it will give you encouragement to talk to people and try to help them with getting some sponsors, maybe to help these people. We in South Africa, we've got a beautiful organization. It's called Chefs with Compassion, which we've been doing now since the beginning of the pandemic, where chefs that due to the pandemic unfortunately have lost their jobs. They formed the club, which is run by the South African Chefs Association, and there's about over 150 chefs now in the whole country, which are going to grocery shops. They're going to wholesalers, and for food that is expired and about to get thrown away, they ask to get it donated to the club, which calls the Chefs with Compassion. They've got then kitchens which they are cooking the food. They're making various stews, they're making various starches, and then they go and feed in the locations where the poverty is struck the most. They go and feed the people there. So they currently in South Africa, we're feeding over 7,000 people every single day by chefs who lost their jobs through the pandemic, who don't have a salary themselves at the moment, but they are cooking for the people out there that don't even have food. So as I said, on a daily basis, we're feeding about 7,000 people through donors, through restaurants, not restaurants, through wholesalers, through shops that have food and food is expired. And there's nothing wrong with expired food. If it's a day or two old, it doesn't matter. It can still be produced a nice meal and a nutritional meal for the people out there to feed. So there's lots of things we as chefs can do.
Great job. Great job. By the way, how grave is the issue of hunger in South Africa?
Well, the unfortunate thing, obviously, through the pandemic now, over the last year now, the poverty has grown in dimensions which is just unbelievable. There's a lot of people who have lost their jobs and are currently not able, due to not having a salary, they're not able to feed their families. But I don't have current stats, but I've got stats from end of 2019, where basically, and our slogan was that currently in South Africa, there's 4.5 million people going to bed every day in the evening, not knowing what they're going to have for food the next day. So that's 4.5 million people in South Africa out of a population of 56 million people, which is most probably by now, and I don't know the exact number, but I'm sure it has doubled that year. So we're looking at about 7 or 8 million people which are in dire need of good nutritional food, at least one meal a day in South Africa. So, but it's not a South African problem alone. There's whole of Africa, and I know in your country there's a lot of poverty as well. And I think we as chefs, we've got a role to play of trying to help with that poverty.
Yeah, sure. we can make a big difference together.
Yeah,
Yeah. Next
absolutely.
question. We have another question.
Please.
Hi, I'm Dua Sayed, and I wanted to ask that I'm thinking about specializing in South African cuisine. Can you give me any advice about that?
Yes,
Sure.
good question. Yes, I can. You see, as it was mentioned earlier, I was the president of South African Chef Association for 6 years, and I've been since my inception in 1988 into South Africa. I've been on the board of directors, or been involved very much of the South African Chefs Association, and been involved in the board of directors for many years. One of my big challenges was in South Africa to create a book of heritage cuisine of South Africa. The problem was that there is no real heritage cuisine in South Africa. We've got a handful or maybe two handful of meals which are truly South African. But now, what is South African? You know, for example, one of the staple diet is millie meal, which is basically a maize meal, which is like a polenta, a white polenta, which I would say good 80% of South Africans eat on a daily basis as a starch and sometimes even as a whole meal because it's full of carbohydrates. Um, it gives you strength, it gives you power, and it's very filling. So now there's so many different regions in South Africa. So now I tried when I did that book about traditional South African cuisine. I tried to find out which is the right way of cooking millipap. This is mini meal, okay, the maize meal. And there's just on that one, there's over 30 different ways of cooking it, and each and every region claims theirs is the traditional one. So it is very difficult, as you can see, to claim a typical South African cuisine. But there is a lot of the reason why I'm saying this because there's a lot of influences from all over the world, and specifically, you know, South Africa used to be an English colony, so there's a lot of English cuisine cultures influenced in South Africa. So there's a lot of English dishes which are now over the years have developed into South African dishes, but there is no real South African cuisine. And how I can justify that? It's very simple. If you travel around the world, which I do fairly frequently, it doesn't matter in which city you get to, be it in Singapore, be it in Austria, be it in Germany, or be it in Australia, and you go into cities and you will always find Asian restaurants, you will always find Italian restaurants, you will always find Greek restaurants, you will always find Spanish restaurants, Mexican restaurants, Pakistani restaurants, all the things you find it all over the world. But you only find one South African restaurant, which is in the middle of London, which is run by a South African person, and you can get about 5 or 6 different traditional South African dishes in there, and that's about all. So South African cuisine is not really well known, and but purely because it's not a really tradition. It hasn't got really heritage. We've got a vast variety of South African dishes, but you can't. Each and every one can't really claim to be truly South African. So I hope that answers your question.
Yeah. So you mean it's pretty close to the English cuisine or maybe the continental cuisine, sort of?
Yeah, very much
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
much so. Yeah.
That's right. So let's see if we have more questions. Uh, who is going to dare ask question? You come forward, please.
Hi, my name is Komal Tanvi. I want to ask what's the basic ingredients of South Asian food? Yeah, cuisine.
Sorry again. Repeat the question, please.
What's the what's the basic ingredients of South Asian cuisine?
South Asian cuisine.
South Africa.
South
South
African
African
cuisine.
cuisine.
South African cuisine. Well, South Africans are very much meat eaters.
Well, Martin, I think today is the day for popularizing the South African cuisine, I believe. I think students are getting keenly interested in South African cuisine.
I'm very glad to hear that. Yes, I'm very glad to hear that.
tell them something about the basic ingredients that you use in the South African cuisine.
Okay, well, from the protein point of view, I think South Africans eat a lot of chicken, and any part of the chicken. The only thing they don't eat in South Africa is the feathers. They use that to make pillows and this all sorts of things. But they eat anything from the feet, from the whole chicken as we all know it. They eat the neck, they eat the heads, they eat everything. So there's a full Monty of eating the chicken. Then beef is very, very important in South Africa. So a lot of beef it gets eaten, and then of course there's a lot of we're very blessed with a lot of game. We've got zebra, we've got various amount of springboks. So the game is very, very important, a very, very important part of the South African cuisine. And then of course we've got, like I said earlier, the maize meal, like the sweet corn meal. Which is very similar to polenta, but it's a white meal, so it's from the white corn, and so that's very, very important. I think this is the most important thing. I don't think there's a household in South Africa that has not got meal in their household. And then we've got various things from the vegetables point of view, whatever. It's very basic. Of course, potatoes, very, very important. And most of root vegetables, starting from parsley roots, starting from celery roots, from carrots to turnips. So and then from the traditional point of view, there's a vegetable called marroch. Marroch is very, very similar to spinach. They call it the African spinach. It's from the consistency is not as smooth or as light as a normal leaf spinach. It's a little bit harder in the consistency. Very similar to kale. I'm not sure if you know kale, but very similar to that. So it's something in between spinach and kale, which is a South African marroch. Very important. And then of course there's some really, really funny and not too maybe for some people likes. There's a very traditional dish. It's called mabani worms. The worms are about a finger thick and about 8 to 10 centimeters long. They're growing on the mabani trees. They're only growing for special season in the spring when the mabani trees starting to get in their leaves. That's when the mabani worms grow on those trees, and specifically on those trees, and they're getting harvested off those trees. So there's millions of them, and they're getting air dried, and then you can get them as an air dried protein, which is very high in protein throughout the year. They normally make a stew out of it with some onions and tomatoes, some chili, and they put those mabani worms in there. They soak it beautifully through, and they eat that normally then with that millie meal, which we call the millie pup. It's a very traditional dish as well. As I said, it's most probably not for everybody's liking because it's worms and it's like maybe it doesn't look so great or whatever, but they're very, very high in protein and they're very healthy. So that's why a lot of South African people actually do eat them. And then, of course, there's a lot of offal. South African people love offal. They love liver. They love kidneys. They love chicken gizzards, chicken livers, etc., etc. And tripe they also like very much. Beef tripe and lamb tripe. Pork in South Africa is very, very little. South African people hardly eat any pork, so pork is a very small market. It's mainly religious related. So that South African people think, or various cultures in South Africa think that pork are dirty animals, and that's why they don't eat it. But it's a religious belief, so pork is not a big seller in South Africa.
Yeah. Very tantalizing description of your ingredients, by the way. By the way, we have Nando's restaurants in Pakistan, very popular.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah,
very nice.
chicken is very popular in Pakistan.
Yeah, Nando's is a very, very good South African success story.
Yeah.
He's got. I know the owner personally. Is a very, very nice man, and it's a very good funny. It's a funny story behind Nando's and myself. I'm not sure if you heard about a gentleman called Dr. Bill Gallagher, who was my mentor, and he
Yeah.
also was the president of World Chefs for many years. Unfortunately, he passed away now 5 years
Very
ago.
sad. Very sad.
But I was while he was president in South Africa of the South African Chefs Association, and
Right.
I was on the board of directors of South African Chefs Association. We were invited by the owner of Nando's Chicken, and when
Right.
he started, he invited us to a restaurant, and he said, "What do you guys think? I just bought this restaurant, and I
Yeah.
really would like to make out of that one a chicken restaurant with Portuguese spices out of it." And he gave us a couple of platters. We tasted the chicken, and we said, "Oh wow, this is fantastic! This is very, very nice." And
Mm.
if you can keep the recipe like it is, we wish you the great success for that restaurant. And he said, "Oh, by the way, I would like to call that restaurant Nando's, which is a accumulation of his family name, various people around his family. So the letters all thrown together in Nando's. So that was the birth of the Nando's restaurant
Mm.
when he invited me and Dr. Bill Gallagher
Yeah.
for a chicken dish. And now he's one of the most successful businessmen from South Africa, and it's got over 1,000 restaurants all around the world.
Yeah. 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 That's wonderful. So, can we have more questions? Yes.
Hi, this is Meher. My question to you is, what do you think is the biggest flaw modern chefs have these days?
The biggest what?
The biggest flaw.
The biggest
What?
flaw,
Yeah.
I think, is the ego. A lot of chefs got a lot of egos, unfortunately. They think they're the best. But so don't fall into that trap. Whatever, a little bit of an ego is good, but don't go over your head. A little bit of an ego, because if you got an ego, that means also you got self-confidence. When you got self-confidence, you're able to stand in front of your customer and you can explain your recipe. You can you can explain your creation. So a little bit of an ego is very, very important, but don't go over it. And I think that a lot of chefs got a lot of ego, and those are the ones I believe not a waste in our industry, but they most probably have a lot of knowledge, but they, because of their ego, do not pass on their knowledge because they think they know it better and they don't want to share their knowledge. So I've got a problem with a lot of people that have an ego, but a little bit of an ego is always good.
Explain.
Okay. In terms of technique, how can you say what is their flaw? In terms of technique.
In terms of technique,
Yeah.
okay. Well, I don't think there's a big flaw at the moment. I think that there's a lot of creativity out there, and I think chefs have proven this year. A lot of chefs have proven this year with the pandemic that they have lost a lot of a lot of the chefs lost their jobs, and they've been very creative with their skills and techniques of trying to create a livelihood for themselves, for their family, or perhaps even keeping their restaurant or the establishment alive. So I don't think there's any flaws as such with chefs. I think chefs are very creative, and there's always new trends coming out, and that's again going back to communication and networking in order to learn about from other chefs and to learn about the techniques, about new trends all around the world.
Yeah, that's right. Wonderful. One more question from a student, and then last question from my side.
No problem.
Uh, Hello, my name is Ijaz Kamar. Uh, I would like to give you thanks for sharing the knowledge and the African cuisine with us. And I would like to ask you your contact number where we could share our domestic cuisine with you, some recipe with you. Would you? Okay.
Now I've given you my email address, and I'm happy to repeat it again, which is martin@chefmlk.com. That's how we can communicate. So yeah, I'll be happy to receive your emails, and I'll be very, very happy if I receive a couple of your beautiful recipes for Pakistan or from wherever you are. Just share your favorite recipe with me, and I would be very honored.
Thank you.
All right. And can I ask a question, sir?
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. What are the three biggest challenges of a chef when he's in the kitchen?
Oh my God. I think this is wow. I think the first biggest challenge which some of the chefs are creating themselves is ego. Um, some of the chefs might have a bit of an ego, and with ego comes attitude, and with that one creates a lot of challenges for themselves and challenges for the brigade. I think I would like to throw not the question back at you, but I would like to basically say um, what a chef should do, or what I believe a chef's role is, or what a chef should be doing. I think the biggest attribute a chef needs to have is being able to work in a team. Um, domestic kitchen, when you cook at home, you and yourself and the stove and the pots are in charge. In the kitchen, in a commercial kitchen, be it in a restaurant, be it in a hotel, be it in a fast food outlet, be it in a food manufacturing company, it is always about the team. It's not about the individual. It's about the team. It's about the team leader, of course, and it's all about being working together. So, and a challenge sometimes is that one things I know better than my colleague, and that's why I go back to attitude. That's why I go back to what's very important about networking. There's always a challenge. So if you think that you know better than the other, then call the person aside and say, listen, don't say that you know better, but suggest the way you would think of making that dish or doing it differently, or whatever the situation is. And then through communication between the two parties, you will come to a conclusion which is the better way. And as always, if somebody comes to you and says, I know better than you, your way, you say, okay, fine, no problem. Show me your way, and then we'll decide together as a team of which the better way is, and that's the way we continue. Because at the end of the day, it is all about serving our customers. It's all about making sure that our customer walks out our doors, our restaurant, our hotels, our establishments in general, with a happy face, with a happy thought, with a happy heart, and with a full dummy, and that's very important. So it's all about the teamwork. It's all about working together and networking. So I think the biggest challenge, and there's so many we chefs have, but the biggest challenge as chefs, what we have, is to serve our customers, to the best of our abilities, and to work as a team. I don't see it as a challenge. I see it as a blessing, to be able to do that. And as long as you do it as a team and you talk to each other, I think there will be no serious challenges in the kitchen. One big challenge is, of course, the heat in the kitchen. And if you can't take the heat, you need to get out. That's as simple as it is. So
Yeah.
get used to it. Stay in the kitchen as long as you can. It's all about training and perseverance.
Well,
Hello?
and one advice for these students, one important advice for these young students.
Listen to your teachers. Ask as many questions as possible. I always say to my students in South Africa, there's no such thing as a stupid question. You're only stupid if you don't ask the question. So please ask the question. If there's something you don't understand, and even if the teacher repeated it 3 times already and you still don't understand it, don't be shy, and don't think that other students next to you think, he's stupid, he can't understand. Ask the question, because I can guarantee you that you're not the only one in that classroom that doesn't understand. So no such thing as a stupid question. That's my biggest advice to you. Always ask questions. And as you can see, it always boils down again to communication. Communicate to each other, communicate with each other in the students' environment, but also communicate with your lecturers. And respect your lecturers, because your lecturers are there because they already been through what you are going through now. And they already got experience. The experience you still need to earn, the experience you still need to gain, and always respect your peers. One day you will be there and you expect exactly the same.
And video on karna. Video on karo. A treat to listen to you, except that some distortion in the internet. Otherwise, it was absolutely great. And it was a great honor for me to have moderated this wonderful session with the students, and including myself and the students would like to thank you with a wonderful clap, in fact. Students,
Thank you so much.
one more round.
One day, hopefully, when the pandemic is over, hopefully in 2021, I can come and all visit you one day, and I
Yeah.
would love to see you in person. It would be very nice.
We love to have you here, and we'll wait for that moment.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you, and goodbye.
Bye. चलो बंद कर दे ठीक है